Good morning and welcome to Connect MKE. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus today will begin on an initiative that has been set up by a grassroots coalition of citizens fighting for the removal of toxic lead pipe infrastructure in Milwaukee, the Get the Lead Out Coalition. And my first guest is Robert Penner. He serves as the coordinator for the Clean Water for Pregnant People program. How are you, Robert?
I'm doing great, Andrea. Thank you for having me here.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to join us today. According to research data, Milwaukee's 8% higher than the national average in terms of lead poisoning. So if you would tell us more about the Get the Lead Out Coalition Milwaukee and its mission.
Yeah, the Get the Lead Out Coalition formed in 2018 in the wake of the scandal that happened here in Milwaukee in the health department. Around the failure to report and follow up on lead poisoning cases, hundreds of them, and hundreds of children that were lead poisoned and had found to be lead poisoned were not followed up with by the city health department, despite the fact that the paperwork had been filed and the money had been collected as if they had been followed up with. So that was a major scandal that kind of brought light to the lead poisoning issue here in Milwaukee. As did the ongoing situation in Flint, Michigan, with an increased concern about lead poisoning and specifically lead in water. And what we know and what we went into the coalition knowing is that there are about 75,000 homes in the city of Milwaukee with lead laterals. It's the pipe that runs from the water main to your house. And some of these pipes are upwards of 100, 120 years old. This is toxic water infrastructure. And we strongly believe that it shouldn't remain in the ground. Now, obviously, there are other sources of lead poisoning, paint being a major one, as well as soil, some children's toys, and some traditional cooking pots and things like that. But we really wanted to advocate for the removal of these lead pipes because what we found through our research is that the lead laterals were actually mandated to be put in the ground by the city in the year 1872. The ordinance says if you're going to connect to the city water system, you must do it using a lead pipe. And so between 1872 and 1950, every single water pipe that was installed connecting homes to the city water system were made out of lead. And so we believe strongly that the city has a responsibility, since they mandated those pipes, to take up the cost of removing all of them as well.
Wow, you did a great job really not only helping people understand the mission, but summarizing what really led you to where you are today. And your organization has continued to put pressure on city officials on really making sure that people have access to lead-free water. So we know that it's that lead in the blood, there is no level that is considered safe, especially during pregnancy. We mentioned you're the coordinator of the Clean Water for Pregnant People program. So if you would tell us more about this program and how you are making sure specifically that pregnant women have clean water that makes it safe for them and their babies.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, obviously, if we had the resources, we would want to give free water to everybody that has to live in a home with a lead pipe. But since we're a grassroots coalition, all the water comes in from donations. We don't have any money. We've got no, big money connections, right? So we want to focus on the population that is the most vulnerable to lead poisoning through water, and that is pregnant people and their children that they're carrying in utero, right? And so what we thought is, well, if we can get water to these pregnant people, safe, clean water that they could drink, not only are we going to be providing them with an imperative necessity for their quality of life and for the quality of their life for their child, going forward, not just while they're in the womb, but for years and years afterwards, we've got to provide water for them. But we also have to show the city that, look, this group of volunteers who go after work and deliver water to pregnant people, if we can do this, if we can make this happen and provide clean water, then why can't the city of Milwaukee do this? I mean, we don't think we should have to do this program. We really wouldn't. We'd rather be doing other things. But the city is going to take such a long time. They're on a track for 70 years for full lead lateral removal. We've got to show them that, look, this can be done. clean water can be provided, and a group of unpaid volunteers who already work full time are going to do it. So maybe it's time that you step up and start removing these lead laterals faster.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that lead in the blood during pregnancy can increase risk for miscarriage, cause the baby to be born too early or too small, hurt the baby's brain, kidneys, and nervous system, or actually cause the child to have learning or behavior problems. So with that said, I want to really make sure that anyone watching today can get the information they need in order to take advantage of this program or help spread the word for those people who may be in need. So what are the qualifications for the Clean Water for Pregnant People program?
Yeah, the qualifications are simply that you have to be pregnant, you have to live in the city of Milwaukee, and you do have to reside in a home that has a lead lateral. And you can check if your home has a lead lateral. There is a database that the city of Milwaukee maintains. You can just basically Google lead pipes Milwaukee, and you'll find the database to search for your address. But you can also go to our website, which is leadfreemke.com. And under the About section of our website, you can find the Clean Water for Pregnant People program, where there is a full set of instructions of how you can sign up, what the qualifications are, and where you can check on whether you have lead pipes or not.
Talk about the importance of partnerships when it comes to raising awareness about this very serious issue, as well as people like yourself who are volunteering their time to make a difference. If someone would like to join in to help, what do they do?
Yeah, I mean, partnerships are crucial here. We wouldn't be able to do this with just like the few people that are, working actively within the Get the Lead Out Coalition. It is a coalition, so we work alongside the Freshwater for Life Action Committee. The Party for Socialism and Liberation helps out a lot with the deliveries. Milwaukee GSA is involved in the organizing of this. And so having collaborators is really, really crucial for us. And I mean, Canned Water for Kids, that's the big one. They've taken it upon themselves to donate this water at their own expense. And we'd like to get some money back to them for this, because, we want to keep the water coming. We want to keep this program going, but we're not going to be able to do that without some funds. So that's why we are fundraising right now through the Canned Water for Kids website. You can go to, it is CW4K, or no, it is Canned Water for the number 4 kids.org. You can go and you can make a donation to the program to keep it going. Really, anything helps. And it is a 501c3, so your donations are tax deductible. But in order to keep this program going, there's got to be money behind it. And I mean, the city has money behind it, the county has money behind it, but that money isn't so far going predominantly to lead lateral replacement. A lot of, the most of the city budget goes to the police force. And I want to mention that there was a study that came out of UWM last year that linked, violent crime to lead poisoning. And so I just want to point out that if we really want to address the source, the root source of crime in Milwaukee, we should start with removing all of the lead hazards, because the neurological impairment that results from lead poisoning, even before you're born, can affect how you act and the kinds of activities you participate in later on in life. And so if our city is really committed to addressing issues of crime, one of the main things that we can do is end the cycle, the vicious cycle of lead poisoning that's been happening in our city.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the thing, when people talk about the lead water crisis in Flint, Michigan, they're appalled by what happened there, and they realize that, those type of scenarios actually happen in third world countries. But I don't know if a lot of people realize that there are experts out there who compare the situation in Flint to really a situation that's happening and unfolding every day right here in Milwaukee. So of course there are different circumstances that lead to those issues, but at the end of the day, this really is a serious issue that, in my opinion, has not gotten enough attention. So what I wanted you to talk about, because you did bring bring up the scenario that led you to this grassroots effort of forming this coalition. So with the scandal that happened with the health department dealing with the testing of young people when it comes to lead in their blood, we just found out recently that there won't be any charges filed. So I'm interested in knowing how you feel after this actual investigation got started by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office and then was passed on to the State Department of Justice to bring us where we are today. What is your organization thinking and saying at this point?
Well, for a while there, we did have some hope that some charges might come out of this just because of the egregiousness of the crime committed against people and the fact that, this was being passed up from the DA up to the AG. So for a second there, we had some hope that, maybe something legally will come of this. But it became pretty apparent as the months turned into years and we didn't hear anything back about the investigation, no progress was made, that this wasn't really a legitimate investigation that occurred. And the lack of charges being pressed, 3 years later, shows that it was a sham, right? It was a sham investigation that they didn't really look into the issue as hard as they could. And, they let the statute of limitations expire and just said, oh, well, we can't press charges now. But they didn't interview key witnesses. They didn't interview Bevan Baker, the former health commissioner who resigned over the matter. They didn't interview interim health commissioner Patricia McManus, who succeeded him. They didn't interview Carrie Lewis, the former water commissioner, or Pat Curley, the former aide to the mayor, people that were involved in this, or the city attorney, former city attorney Grant Langley. They didn't interview any of these people who were intimately involved in this scandal and this cover-up that was attempted down at City Hall and in the health department. So what we ask is, how can a legitimate investigation have occurred if these key actors in the process weren't even brought in and interviewed? Because I know Bevan Baker has a lot to say. He's been making press releases trying to clear his name for the last couple of years. And you think, well, maybe they would invite him in to try to get a clearer picture of what's going on, but they didn't. And they don't want to hear from him, because I think what will happen then is the truth will come out about just how deep the corruption runs and just how, that this scandal goes all the way to the top. And so frankly, we're disappointed. We're not extremely surprised that this was the outcome. But it just kind of goes to show that this was a sham investigation and it wasn't meant to go anywhere from the start.
So, of course, we all know that the city of Milwaukee has elected its first new mayor in 18 years. And so, with that said, does your organization or the coalition have plans to try to connect with this new administration to have an understanding where everyone's on the same page with the same goals in keeping everyone safe from lead?
Well, we will make a formal introduction to Mayor Johnson, but we've reached out to Cavalier Johnson before when he was president of the Common Council and when he was a member of the Common Council, and he never seemed to really have much interest in what we had to say. It was really Ashanti Hamilton and Bob Donovan that were the alder people that heard us out and allowed us to come in and make our present our evidence to the Common Council, the scientific and historical evidence that we compiled through multiple years of research. Unfortunately, Cavalier Johnson never showed any interest and pretty much dismissed us offhand when we tried to bring our concerns to him. So, maybe something will be different this time. Maybe he's got a better handle on the issue or something like that. But once again, we've been dealing with the city, we've been dealing with the bureaucracy and politicians for the last 4 years on this issue. And very rarely have we come across anybody that's really willing to hear us out and take our concerns that we're bringing forward seriously. So we don't hold out hope to make an impact with Mayor Johnson now. It'd be nice if that's something that happened, that came to fruition. But what we're really focused on is organizing on the grassroots, organizing a pressure campaign from below. and getting the people that are most susceptible, pregnant people in the city of Milwaukee, involved in advocating for themselves and advocating for their neighbors and their family and the people that are in the same situation and have the same interests that they do. And the interest really comes up to the fact that everybody deserves clean water. We all want to drink clean water right out of our tap. We don't want to have to buy bottles or buy gallons or have water delivered to us that's inconvenient. You know, we should be able to drink the water right out of our tap, and that's really the end of it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'd like to remind our viewers that the Clean Water for Pregnant People program, it's for pregnant people living in a Milwaukee home that has lead laterals. They're eligible for the delivery of 6 cases of water per month for 12 months for free, and you can go to the website to get more information on that. So, Robert, thank you again for your time and for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, Robert Penner is the coordinator for the Clean Water for Pregnant People program. Again, you can visit their website at leadfreemke.com for more information on anything we have discussed today. And when we return to Connect MKE, we'll turn our attention to a new convenient and affordable transportation service that connects Milwaukee neighborhoods with businesses in the Menominee Falls, Butler area. We'll find out more about Flex Ride Milwaukee right after this.